Hello! I found this wreath at the DI and I decided I want to take it apart and make a new one. I'm going to remove what I can, but leave what I can't. My plan is to cover it up anyway. Then I take the wreath and I cut it into more of a crescent moon shape. So using Hobby Lobby floral arrangements, I have wire cutters and I'm going to start cutting apart everything into more individual pieces. That way I can really extend them and make things more bushy and full and have better placement on where I want things to lay. I started laying out some of the greenery to see if I wanted it to look a certain way, and then I decided I actually did want to cut everything apart and lay it completely different than I was planning. But that's why you lay it out first before you start gluing, right? So with the greenery, I'm actually going to start with the bushiest pieces, and then I'm going to use the smaller pieces to kind of fill in more of the gaps that I want. When I'm doing a wreath, I like to mirror both sides and then fill into the middle. Since we're doing a crescent shape, I'm going to focus most of the greenery and the flowers on one side. When I'm doing these crafts, I get distracted and then I end up going back to what I was doing. But now I take the smaller greenery and start filling in more of the spaces. So the greenery is going to be focused on the inside and outside of the wreath. This is going to give a fuller effect without laying too much greenery down. I am saving the tiniest of greenery for the inside of the wreath because I don't want to overwhelm that inside. So when I'm working on the inside of the wreath, I still try and mirror those pieces. Keep in mind when you're working with this greenery that it's okay if it sticks out. That's what plants do. They do what they want and they're wild. Now I am going for a specific look today, and so I will be using moss. This moss is actually from the Dollar Tree. So I squirt a bunch of glue down and then I push the moss into it. And yes, there's going to be a lot of fallout, but just keep going. I'm going to try and cover up a lot of the sticks of this wreath and try to give a feel as if it grew together like this. This will also help hide all those stems from the greenery and the flowers I'm going to be putting in. When you're putting the moss on, be very careful because it's easy to burn your fingers. So I put on more moss than I need to in that area to protect my fingers and see what can really stick. This project does use quite a bit of hot glue. I used the cheapest glue sticks you could buy at Walmart, and the glue did great. So for the look that I'm going for, I want the sticks to still peek through the moss. This is when I feel like you can start seeing it kind of come together. I definitely was trusting my process. Now that's all done, I'm going to start applying the floral. I loved this sparkly wheat looking piece, and I'm going to try and mirror just like everything else on the wreath, and I wanted them to curve with the wreath. With the lavender, I'm going to work with the tall, skinny pieces first and then work into the short, stubby, thick ones. If I put the big ones down, sometimes you end up covering them too much with the flowers. I want this to look thinner into thicker, so I'm going to have my thickest, biggest pieces in that center where the two sides meet. Once I feel like I mirrored enough of the flowers, then I start filling in whatever gaps that I see. Then we're starting to get into the big floral pieces, which are going to meet in the middle of those two sides. Then I'm going to finish up this wreath with some of those little flower buds, covering up the last of those stems, creating a seamless look as if it all grew together itself. Doing some finishing touches. I didn't end up using some of the leaves that I thought I would, but I think it turned out better than I was expecting. So here is the final result. I'm so in love with it. It turned out way better than I was expecting. I'm so happy with the colors. Super full, super bushy, really easy to do. I tied some green ribbon in the back to help hang it. So if you want to make your own wreath, check your local DI for the old stick wreaths. Then go to Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. And I suggest going to Hobby Lobby when they're having the discounts on the florals. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.